Welcome back to another episode. And today, as you know, it's the classic format. We're going to be looking at what campaigns have been going on this week, campaigns that have been going on for the last 2 weeks, but have started to really heat up in different ways. We'll be looking at ads that were made 50 years ago and me giving some breakdowns and just looking at our favorite ads that have come out this week. Carson, how are we doing?
Oh, dude, it's my favorite. It's my favorite time of the week. Favorite time to get to talk to somebody and chat and talk about the great industry that is advertising. So we've got a lot of good stuff for industry news and a lot of cool campaigns that have come out the last week, and I'm pumped to get into it. So, do you want to kick us off with some industry news? What happened this past week?
I'm going to kick us off with, if you're a UK advertiser, you get to know the ASA very well, a great advertising agency, or not an advertising agency, sorry, a board to make sure that ads are correct and legal. And an ad was running on the tubes and have been taken down this week. And so I'm dying to show you, Carson, because I think the ad may be too concrete in its promises. And I think this is an example of, anyway. So this was an ad that was running on the tube, and it's been taken down. For some context, it's a serum. It costs around £49. And the ASA flagged it because it was suggesting that, you could look up to 5 years younger. What do you think of that?
It's like, it's not saying like you will look up to 5 years younger. It's implying that like you can. Like, they're not saying like you will. They're just saying like look up to 5 years. I don't see where there's an issue, but I don't work in law and at the FTC or the ASA or whatever you guys have over there. But
yeah.
Is it a great ad? No, like it shouldn't have even been fucking run probably, but at the same time, like I don't see the issue with it. They have the disclaimer, product and use test over 4 weeks with 160 volunteers. So like if it's backed in science.
Well, it's just a great example, I think, of whether is it overreach from the ASA, or is it actually a fair flag? I would say it's probably not. I would say it's pretty unfair. I mean, look, it's saying look up to 5 years younger. It's not saying you will be 5 years younger, right? There's also an asterisk that says product and use test over 4 weeks. So there is some kind of science to it.
There's a disclaimer and there's I think this is kind of an overstep in my opinion. I don't know why. Because it's not implying that like you will do this. It's just saying like you, in my opinion, it says you can look up to 5 years younger. Like when I read that, I don't hear like I'm gonna be 5 years younger. That's the opportunity that I see.
Yeah,
because everybody knows, everybody should know that like there is no guarantees.
No, I agree, and I think as well it's a cloud again. That's what I mean. But you see it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, on to other news as well. I'm going to continue my flow state. The AI legal space has decided that the best way to build brand identity is just to hire actors who play lawyers or just look attractive, apparently. That's their game plan. An example of this is something that happened in February. So they got the guy from Harvey from Suits, has partnered with Harvey AI. Shock horror. This did come out on the 17th of Feb, so this isn't new news, but one of their rival competitors to Harvey AI just launched one with their celebrity of Jude Law. So I was going to show you that campaign in a second. Playing on the fact his name is Jude Law. Law just got more attractive. I'm going to show you that campaign in a second. But what's your first reaction to this? The AI companies or AI law companies have decided to use puns and brand and essentially not influencers, people that play lawyers in TV shows to be their brand identity. What's your view on that?
Dude, I like it. Like this is fun for me to see. Like this is the type of software advertising that I can get behind and get into because it makes it not about like the boringness of law and the product. It's like, oh, there's now like a fun twist on, at first it was Gabriel Macht as Harvey in Suits, now being used for Harvey, the AI company. That was like a fun thing. I was like, oh, that's a good move from them. Like that builds some good credibility, some fun aspect to the advertising. And then now Jude Law coming in for the other company. I forget the name of them, but
I can show you so this is the ad here.
Yes.
Law just got more attractive. I don't think there'll be any audio, but you can just kind of rough visual of it. But basically, Law just got more attractive, playing on the fact his surname's that, using his as being a great actor. It's interesting to me. It's an interesting play. It really is. So I thought I'd show you that.
I like it.
I can keep going, but I feel like you need to come in with some source of your own.
I got some. So we have some more advertising news in the running industry and
Real
realm of
running at God,
what's
you run
going on right now. So if you don't know, the world record was just smashed this past weekend by uh I actually forget the name of the gentleman. I know his last name is Sawe, and I know he's from I don't think he's from Kenya, maybe he's
No, he
Ethiopia.
is Kenyan,
No,
he's Kenyan, he is
he is
Kenyan, he is
Kenyan?
yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
the other guy isn't Kenyan. But anyway, Nike is the consensus loser for this weekend, and I'll tell you why. So I'll share this tweet from Darren Ravel. Nike spent millions of dollars on breaking two, an attempt to break the 2-hour marathon by Eliud Kipchoge. Kipchoge did it in Nikes in 2019, but it was with lasers and pacemakers. It didn't count. Today, two men did it officially, both in Adidas. So Nike now, not only did their athlete not get the cemented world record, but it just got crushed by two athletes in Adidas. So after this happened, the shoe that they have is not yet released. Well, it did release, but this was like the greatest advertising they could do without even having an ad. The shoe sold out in less than 2 minutes. It was a limited supply, and it's a super shoe. So this is also the ad that they decided to run in honor of it. This was a share from Larry Madewo. Sorry, Larry. But they did history and time, and they did a picture of Sawe, and they did his official time. He's in the Adidas right here. But that was Nike. Just the hits keep coming. They keep coming. They can't get away
and the yeah, sorry,
from
no, sorry.
the bad luck right now, and it's unfortunate to see. Now, I personally told Adidas on Twitter to use an ad that I made for them, and I was a little bit, salty that they didn't give me a look, but
It happens, it
it
happens,
happens.
it happens.
So
I mean,
I
also
did I did I did the picture of the shoe where he wrote, like, his time on it and then world record. And then as the headline, I did one, giant stride for all mankind.
I mean, it's an insane achievement, and again, it's how
And I think this, like, opens the floodgates for it to be broken even more. I mean, he even said the other day, he's like, "I can do 158." I was like, "Holy Lord, this dude is insane."
150.
I mean, that's insane. But yeah, so Nike is getting crushed on direct advertising, on indirect advertising, everything. They're just getting pummeled right now with punches.
but it's you do wonder though whether I mean they're not helping themselves, right? In the moments that they have tried to show up, they've just fell back on themselves. With the Boston example, right? Like it's not like it's never count Nike out. They're a huge company, but at the moment they're definitely not winning these rounds in a boxing fight. Put it that way, they're definitely losing some early rounds. But never count Nike out, in my opinion. But yeah, God,
Another piece of news that I actually saw and I thought was very interesting was an article written by Chris Kelly. So I'll read it to you now. It's talking about CMOs have built up CEO trust, and now we're trying to prove that they can drive real growth. So while CEOs are increasingly confident in the CMO's understanding of the company's finances, overall CEO faith in the CMO role has declined to 43%.
yeah,
So the CMO roles are the tenure of the role is shorter than other positions in C suites, but the
yeah,
length of tenure is very stable. So even when like CMOs move, 2/3 of them who exit are promoted or move to a similar or bigger role elsewhere. So there's 9% are promoted to CEO. That's like the lowest of all the C suites.
yeah.
But even if the holders of the CEO position have worked to build better relationships with their CEOs, while 72% of CEOs are confident in the CMO's understanding of their company's finances, up from 61%, overall CEO confidence in the CMO role has declined 43%. The CMO, this is a quote. This is a quote as well that I don't see who said it, but the CMO is building better trust with the CEO and the C-suite while their credibility for growth and execution is declining. Very interesting to me. I'm not sure how that's kind of going along, but the CEOs are spotting that a lot of CMOs are doing marketing ROI and marketing growth, but not enterprise growth. So the challenge is proving enterprise growth, I believe.
It's yeah. I think for CMOs and I mean, I think it's a really hard gig because advertising and marketing, right, is essentially very like long tailed, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of big companies, right? Because like unless you're like an econ brand, right, and you're below, but it doesn't matter. Well, it depends on how much you're making, but essentially, like you can do a lot of direct response most of the way. But there's a
Yeah.
point where you have to actually build brand, and it's very hard to measure brand, right? It's a difficult. CMO is a difficult job.
It is. And also it says too that 5 years ago, the relationship was the issue between CEOs and CMOs. And now the IQ or EQ, through their sheer IQ or EQ, they figured out how to bridge CMO CEO relationship divide. So like now the problem is just it's less relationship based. It's more of like proving enterprise growth, I guess, which is very interesting.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah, no, of course, and it's a difficult one. But I wonder. I mean, you'd be interested. I mean, I know the big one is. I mean, you've got. I know it wasn't marketing, but Apple, right? Tim
Yeah.
Cook stepping down. I mean, that would be a fascinating. I mean, he was product, right? The new CEO coming in now, so it'd be interesting to see how they approach that, especially in the advertising and marketing departments there. But yeah, God, it's very interesting that article.
It is. Well, and I think AI will probably help bridge that gap a little bit more. It helps CMOs get a lot more concrete data, I guess, at the enterprise level. But very interesting to see where that kind of tracks and if in the future CMOs do get promoted to more CEO roles. So,
Yeah. No, it
we'll
would
see.
be.
I feel like a lot of CMOs usually probably go and be a CMO at either they go from brand agency or they go from agency to brand. And then if they do become CEOs, they either start their own company or they're at the agency level becoming a CEO. That's my guess. But another big piece of news that I feel like you've probably heard of is the collection of brand partners that the Devil Wears Prada 2 has
Oh God.
released recently. So brands like Diet Coke, L'Oreal, Grey Goose, Starbucks, and I think there's more than that. Basically been granted and worked with the Devil Wears Prada 2 studio on partnerships to align with the sequel. So I know like L'Oreal has an ad for it's called I think You're Worth It. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I mean, they're
Yes.
really. I mean, the devil wears Prada. I mean, they're definitely getting the brand activations stronger from the first time they did to now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
an interesting kind of moment. Let's have. Ooh,
So here is the L'Oreal commercial.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think it's pretty solid.
It's pretty solid. I mean, again, a bit of humor there. I mean, but it is an interesting cultural moment we're in now where brands. There's definitely something here. Again, we go back to the Elf cosmetics thing when they put on that that fake documentary thing, right? And now we're looking at like massive films with big budgets now with brands around it doing activations more. Because the classic, right, would be you just put like your product in the film, right? That'd be the placement, right? Look at like a
Yeah.
James Bond, for example. You'd put the Aston Martin in there. You'd have the DB car, famously it's a DB5. But now it's like I feel like brands are now realizing they need to do more activations around this moment, the film moment, more than they were probably expecting now. Because
And
yeah,
great point because L'Oreal and Grey Goose both hosted pop-ups in New York in the run-up to the film. And Starbucks launched a booth of secret menu beverages and distributed limited edition copies of Runway at the Starbucks Reserve location in the Empire State Building.
well, it's like it's essentially it's the. I mean, look, I don't know if you saw the Burger. Well, I'm talking about Burger King more than usual at the moment. God, I don't know what's going over me. Burger King did an activation with the Mandalorian film and Grogu, Baby Yoda. They're doing like an
Yeah.
activation for the build up for the film. So I think brands are. I think understanding the importance of leaning in more to these, like, okay, what's a big moment? This is a film. How can we make pop ups around this film? How can we be in the cultural conversation? And then how can we create ads and content off this?
Yeah.
It's a classic, right?
And Google did try-on rooms. So they have like I think pieces from the film
Amazing.
and it uses the screen to like help people try the clothing on with like a big screen in the event.
Amazing.
So they did a great job too. Like I think, looking at these, there's a lot of good in this Devil Wears Prada 2 partnerships and campaign for the
Yeah.
ads. Like, a bunch of different experiential stuff, a bunch of like good real ads on social and on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Smartwater also had something with them. So it's cool to see like a very diverse umbrella of brands being able to kind of sit in on this moment and the film.
But the scary thing though is, and I feel like with the world of social media now, this activation will come and go, and then it'll be the next. Like the tailwind of these activations are probably very small, but in the build up, they're everything. There's not much of a shelf life now. I feel like with a lot of
Mm-mm.
activations and content. Like,
No.
I mean, look at Ramp, right? They were looking to pay what head of content at a software company at 360,000 a
Yeah.
year. And again, I know it's a bit of a different point, but
Anthropic is now paying a head of events 400K a year.
Jesus,
I think that's gonna become this is something that another insight that I've got. I
yeah,
think head of events and partnerships is going to be one of the highest paying roles in the next 10 years
yeah.
because people are gonna want analog and IRL experiences.
It's
So
I
that's gonna become like the highest building trust point that you can have is and that role is gonna be very well compensated for what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree. And I think the actual, again, it's, we've lived in a world now, supply and demand. People have been given all this content. Our dopamine levels are smashed to the heights of Kingdom Come. And now people are wanting those in real life moments, those moments that are slower. And again, these brands need to show up where the consumer is. And I don't think it'll be as much on social media as people think. And I
Yeah.
think this is actually a really good segue to something that's been going on in the UK in our court system at the moment. Again, shock horror. The social media companies are claiming that their platforms are not addictive, not to children, but they're addicted to everyone else. That's their defensive argument. And I think this is a part of the problem. I think social media, I mean, these algorithms now are becoming so unbelievably good, unbelievably good. People can't get out of the doom scroll. Our levels of dopamine get fucked, so our brains are just like working on empty. So yeah, I really do believe that you're right. I think brand partnerships and events and people that own those and companies, they will be probably one of the most paid in those companies. 100%. I see that. I really do.
You know what I mean, listen, I know that social media platforms have had their time of like, they're not great for us obviously and unfortunately they're just here to stay and part of the future and whatever's going to be is will be, but I don't think it's necessarily fair for them to be like for the government to say you're making it so that our kids are addicted, you're doing this. It's like they're trying to do their best to build a business and I don't think they're trying to do things that have a negative effect on people. It's kind of just the nature of the beast. So I don't know how much I agree with the statement that the UK government's putting out there with that.
Well, I'm not like, what I'm trying to say is like, I'm not, I think banning social media, I think when you ban something, there's always a black market, right? There's always a way around it. I don't think it's, I think banning something isn't going to solve the problem. But I think what is very clear to me is that when I was growing up, there were no safeguards on social media, right? It was the Wild West.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be greater safeguards, not banning, but there needs to be better ways. Like maybe, I don't know, when you get to the age of 16, below 16, maybe your algorithm isn't as dialed in. Maybe it's like 20%. And the minute you get to a certain age, then it unlocks the full out. I don't know. Because you have to agree, right? Like you go on your phone, you type in running for 5 minutes, and all you'll see is running stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like the algorithm is, I think, actually, in a way, how you're feeling and the mood you go into social media will be the outcome of what it shows you, right? If you're feeling down and upset, then
Yeah.
content can sort of reflect that. And it makes you spiral even more, right?
Yeah.
Something that I found
It
personally that
is true. And that's, I think, an imperfection within just the nature of the algorithm instead of just like, I don't think companies are trying to do that. I think it's just whatever your mood you're in, like you said, is the mood you're going to continue to be in. And just it's a self fulfilling prophecy,
yeah,
right? But
besides, and you have that feedback, right? Like if
so
you're
funny because when I think back to when we were younger and social media first came out, I mean, we're the first generation to really have it and grow up with it, right? So like I think, and this could just be pleading naivety here, is I think social media was a way less dangerous game when we were younger than it is now in almost every single way.
Well, I mean, again, it's the classic, right? It went from follower based to now interest based, right? Everyone knows that as a concept, right? That's
Yeah.
nothing new. People know that followers don't mean anything. It's whether you can basically make engaging content for your niche, right? You could have 100 followers and an unbelievable business, right? If there are 100 followers that are the top 100 CMOs of, of Fortune 500 companies, right? You know, like, but I think people just, yeah, it's a really interesting debate, I think, with social media and where it's going. But I think you're right. I think to kind of wrap this segment up, it's head of brand, head of partnership. Well, not head of brand, but more partnership and events. I think will definitely be one of the most paid.
Yeah.
And head of content, right?
Yeah,
Because
and
content,
I think we're gonna see a regret. I think we're gonna see in terms of advertising, anything we're seeing, and we're gonna see a regression to the mean. We're gonna see people go back to traditional advertising, go back to doing more IRL stuff, go back to doing like in person and print and radio and TV and all this other stuff. Like we're gonna see that boom even more, and probably less, not less, but less of a hardcore focus on this strictly direct response. Everything has to be ROI positive and attributable. Like, I do think there's a layer of trust behind going and paying for billboards and going and doing TV spots and
Yeah, no,
going and doing
agreed.
radio and all this other stuff.
Agreed. And to add on to that as well, I would say I was talking to someone about this yesterday, and it was a really interesting. I mean, not in advertising, has no connections to it. She basically made a really interesting point where she kind of went, when I see an out of home ad, I trust it more, right? Because it's like, oh, the company's willing to pay the money to go out of home.
Yeah.
But then you said when I get over advertised on social media, I then believe it's overhyped. So I think there is a really interesting middle point where you can do some really great out of home activation,
Yeah.
show up a couple of times on the social media site, and then that builds the kind of, oh, I've seen it on the tube. Oh, no, oh, in London, for example, I've seen it on the tube. I've then gone, okay, then I've seen it pop up on my phone, and then they're brought, right? But
Yeah.
it's so easy not to attribute the out of home ad because you can't track it, right? It's very hard to.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to also add some more interesting news. I've been kind of more in the news this week than last week. And, interestingly, Zuckerberg is going after Snapchat. Who thought this day was coming? No one. Kidding. He's launched Instance. This is his counter to Snapchat. I mean, look, they launched Threads as a counter to X. How well that went, I mean, that's a debate for another day. But yeah, this is Instance. This is what they're going after. I mean, what's your first impressions? Have you heard much about this platform?
Haven't heard a peep. I
A
haven't heard
peep.
a peep. But you
Me.
know what's funny to me? This is a great segment part right here, because I find it hysterical that Zuck founded Facebook, and Facebook, I don't think has changed in the last like 5 years. And then you go further back than that, it didn't change at all before that. It's like considered to us, in my opinion, I think we consider it like the Gen X, the boomer website, like the boomer social media. And he
Well,
bought Instagram, and Instagram feels more like Zuck's baby than Facebook does. Like, Instagram is the printing machine behind what powers Meta, in my opinion, from the outside looking in. So I think it's kind of hilarious how they've built out all of these different like Instagram adjacent platforms and products, whereas Facebook's just kind of like stayed the same, and they've just got like Messenger and WhatsApp they bought as well. But it's funny to me how that works.
well, I don't know what's going on in Zuckerberg's team, but they're on an absolute mission to squeeze the money. I mean, I think we're into an enterification of most of their products. I mean, here is another great example. WhatsApp, something that we all love, right? They're now looking to roll out premium features.
Oh, interesting.
So they're now looking to bring out, premium stickers, themes, app icons, ringtones, etc. But even more interestingly, Instagram's coming out with their own premium features where you can see when people are screenshotting your story, or you can like look at people's story in stealth mode and whatever. So I think there's some really interesting kind of plays at Meta right now, with their kind of C-suite, not C-suite, but their suite of products, and how can they monetize more of it.
Feels like Meta is really now starting to go the route of we're taking everything.
Well,
And
it's just,
honestly, with how bad Snapchat's been doing, I wonder if they'll be able to crack the code on the concept in
well, the
terms
problem
of
is
extending that LTV, because Snapchat is like, dude, once you get to about our age, like coming up on 25, you're like, fuck, I'm too old for this shit.
I uninstalled Snapchat like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't look back. But it's an interesting point there, because did they crack Threads to kind of counter X? Will they take on Snapchat and win? I don't know.
It's tough though, dude, because like Threads still, I mean, at first it blew up like that. You with all the stuff that went on with X before Musk bought it, people were like, "Oh, I'm going to Threads," and then Threads blew up for like 2 days, and then it tanked, and now we're back to Threads is like a legit platform. I don't think it's considered in the echelon of Instagram or even X or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
do think it's legit. So it's interesting now to see like what they're gonna do, what features they're gonna have.
But then I think it comes back to the question of just, oh, what does innovation now look like for a lot of these platforms? Where is the next frontier? I mean, Zuckerberg again, he tried with the metaverse, and he tried to, this world of, essentially when they bought Oculus, everything would be in the metaverse. That's getting closed down, and all these things. So I don't know. We're in a very interesting spot right now for
Yeah.
product, and where's that going to go?
Yep.
But yeah,
Should we move on to campaigns?
yes. So I have two today. I have two.
Perfect.
One campaign is a chocolate brand, and it's just a nice static image. But I know, Carson, you are a sucker for a static.
I love a good.
So here is the static ad. I think it's great. I love it. Doesn't say much at all, but I think it says everything perfectly. For the precious moments, um, again, the context of the ad is three kids skiing, first, second, and third, and then the chocolate is being represented in the same formation.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay, well, I mean, I like it because it's very simple. And I mean, anything I don't like is the fact that the chocolate is shared out equally. In my opinion, the winner should get more chocolate. But anyway,
Yeah,
uh,
that's where I'm like,
is that what you're anti? Oh,
well, that, but also like, what is it that I'm supposed to be feeling here?
well, I think I'll give you my feeling on that. I think in those types of things, it's like again, every most ads we see have tons of text, tons of copy, tons of headlines, right? In this ad, there's hardly any copy. So in my opinion, the reason why I like it is it's so simple. Maybe it's too simple, but actually there's a story being communicated, right? There's been a skiing race. There's been a winner, a first, second, and third, and then they're celebrating the precious moment of the chocolate. The only thing I would add is that the chocolate should be actually the winner should get more chocolate, and then the second and third should maybe get there's not as much. Maybe that would be the one ad that I would change to it. But
Yeah.
I just think it's simple, and I think it's a nice little moment. But yeah, I feel like you've got some problems with it.
Yeah, it's not like it's terrible. It's just for me, it's like precious moments. But what does the chocolate have to do with that specific image? Like to me, it's just there seems like a loss of direction.
Yeah, I see your point. I see it. I see it. So that's the first campaign. So that was just again the chocolate moment. The other campaign, as you know, the World Cup is creeping around the corner,
I think we've
and Budweiser have yeah,
same one.
nice, okay, cool. You've got the same one as me, but Budweiser partnered with Haaland and Jurgen Klopp to unleash Let It Pour. And this is just a quick snippet. I don't think it'll be big exciting.
Why doesn't the audio work on yours?
Does it not work?
Uh-uh.
But anyway, I wasn't going to show the whole thing, but I just wanted to show the viewers. Budweiser partnering up with Haaland and Jurgen Klopp. I think it's a great partnership play. They're two world-class and very well-known people. One is, again, currently playing. One is rumored to be taking over Real Madrid next year. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, I think it's a great little campaign, and I'm excited for it. Let it pour. What do you think?
I like that one, and I saw it. I saw their 2-minute version too. I think they did a great job. So props to Budweiser. They've been crushing it recently. But another campaign we've got is actually a company that is returning to advertising. You know who it is?
Who's up?
Casper, the sleep company.
Oh,
So
mate.
Casper is returning to advertising with their new campaign. So we're gonna take a little gander here.
They've been sleeping too long. I mean, first of all, I mean, if this is like a long activation with this thing, I think it'd be genius because that is terrifying. I mean, Casper, I didn't know they stopped advertising. I wonder why. They just stopped.
They've got multiple spots of this in multiple different ads, but
Just wait for
they've
the AI. Just wait for the AI pivot like all birds. Just wait. Casper AI. It's
they've been
inbound.
they've been out of the ad game for a good while now. I want to say a couple years.
Seriously, what was the reasoning? They just were stopping, or
They needed a partner who could create something memorable and relatable, and they just were not, you know, I think they ended up partnering with the agency Orchard. This is from the VP of marketing. He said Orchard deeply understood the message we want to bring to life and translated it into something that not only reinforces what's special about Casper, but does so in our own unique way. I think this is actually a very good campaign. It's basically like daymares, like everything bad that happens during the day. At night you can go to bed and you have your Casper and it's a good night day. So I think this is a very good campaign. It's been 12 years since the bed-in-a-box startup disrupted traditional mattress retail. While not the first to pioneer D2C mattresses, Casper led on marketing and quickly scaled to the concept to go-to brand for millennial home buyers. But they lost their spring and began as a D2C startup, later turned into third-party distributors with rollouts at Pottery Barn, Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Nordstrom to drive growth. The not yet profitable company then went public in 2020 at $13 a share to offset high marketing costs and losses while funding its expansion. After the price share dipped to $5, they returned to private ownership under equity investors, eventually selling the major foam manufacturer Carpenter Co. in November 2024, with Casper operating as a subsidiary. Between 2021 and 2024, domestic mattress shipments in the U.S. dropped from 26.3 million units to 19.3. On the upside, U.S. mattress production and sales reportedly began recovering in the second half of 25. So that is why I think they took a hiatus, but now they're back in private ownership. I think this is a great step in the right direction for them and a great campaign to do it. So props to Casper, but also props to Orchard for executing this because I think it's great. If you have the time, also if you guys are listening to this, go check out the other ad spots because I think they're all very well done.
But it'd be interesting to see kind of what the campaign's goal. Is it trying to build brand affinity again? Is it conversion? What do you think their kind of overarching place want to be with this kind of launch?
I think with this specific ad, they're working on positioning. I don't think it's necessarily like it's more of a brand play. I don't think it's necessarily a performance play. I think this is a positioning problem that they're trying to fix. Like we're back to advertising and we're back to showing people what Casper is and why it's so special. Like this is what they did really well was talk about and hit on the emotion and relatability side of this. Because think about how many bad things happen during certain days of your life, right? And you're like, I just can't wait to go to bed. That's what they're getting at. And I freaking love it. Like brilliant job on all ends of the spectrum, in my opinion. Like I think this is a winner.
No, I agree. But it'd be interesting to see what the long tail effects will be. Because is it for Gen Z? Is it for like, I don't know, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting. Any other campaigns, Carson, that you've walked upon or discovered?
Yeah, I know Mug Root Beer has got a campaign that they just launched again. They made root beer a protein joke, called it I forget the details, but it's something about the product. Mike's Hard Lemonade has a new campaign, and Garage Beer actually hired a lawyer to do their. No, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Never mind. But that's what I've got for campaigns this week. What else you got for me?
I mean, from a campaign perspective, the one that's kind of coming up to mind would be, and Drum did a really good article on this a couple of like 10 years ago. But it's come up to now that it's nearly, I think it's now, hold on, let me just get it up for you. Just 1 second. It didn't load as well. Though I can edit this now. 1 second. Episode's going well though, eh?
I love it.
I'm just speaking now because it's easier to edit if I know. Hold on 1 second. I want to get the ad. 1 second. Where is it? It's an American Express one, but I can't seem to get it up.
Ooh, Amex.
I want to also try and get the audio. Hold on. Actually, no, I don't want that campaign. I may not have anything else, mate, to be honest. It's actually not as good as I wanted that to be. Sorry
That's
about
fine.
that.
So, Luke, hit me with the ad of the week this week for history. Give me some history, brother. What do we got? Let me hear it. I'm pumped. This is my favorite segment of the show, and I don't even do it. I want to talk about the art of congruency.
Oh,
so this is one of my insights this week, and we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I think this is very important. And one of my buddies had a great insight on this, and his name is Jacob Counts. He posted this on social, and he was talking about why so many great ads flop. When you hear the following quotes, something will feel off, and I'll explain what that is after. But here we go. So, girl, when I tell you I had the coolest experience, bro, it's giving ... I genuinely don't know anything more dope than ... Why they all feel a little bit off is because the genders are not correct here. Like girls and guys say very different things. Like the first one, it's bro instead of girl. Bro, when I tell you I had the coolest experience, that one sounds better than girl. When I tell you I had the coolest experience, right? Girl, it's giving. Girls say that. Guys don't say that shit. I genuinely don't know anything more dope than that's a guy saying. So like you need to be giving the audience the congruent language that they're speaking in and speaking in that language to the correct gender or persona in general. Because people notice the small clues before they even can comprehend it. So the way things look, the way they feel, the way they smell, the way they sound, like all of that is way more important than people think. And you need to make sure that people can make the correct judgment in the first 3 seconds before they even hear or see anything. Like everything needs to be aligned because if you don't have something congruent, everything else is going to be off. And that goes for not just the ads, but landing pages, for website copy, whatever the hell else you're doing, for organic social, like all of that needs to be congruent from top to bottom because that's what's going to make people understand what it is you're trying to sell and to whom. And it's going to make it so it feels correct or if it feels incorrect. So that's the big thing that I've got on like a personal insight this week is make sure that congruency is within all of your ads.
Interesting. No, I have finally found my I found the ad, but the resolution is terrible. So I'm trying to actually find a better. I don't want to give a bad, but maybe the one actually. It may be working. It's Tango the Tiger. You're probably thinking, which company is a tiger in their advertising? Great question. So this campaign, it's a bit over 50 years ago, but there's a lot of learnings to be had because I think it's a great piece of campaign. It was Tango the Tiger by Esso, the fuel company, and they did some like out of home advertising. Sorry, they did some out of home advertising. They did some like campaigns, but basically it was all around put a tiger in your tank, right? And again, they were playing on the fact that for a lot of Americans, it was this kind of feeling of like, with when you put fuel in the car and you've got a fast car, it's powering, it's like put the tiger,
Got a
get that
roller.
into the tank. It's something visual. People can chat about it. It makes sense. And I think it's a really clever campaign that Esso came out with way over 50 years ago. So yeah, it was
I
put a
like
tiger in the tank.
This is good. I've never seen this before.
Yeah. So put a tiger in your tank. It was called Tango the Tiger. Unfortunately, he died, of course. Again, because it's way over 50 years ago. But yeah, they had a tiger. And yeah, so this was Esso's campaign. Put a tiger in your tank.
Dude, I love it.
But I just think it's a good example for people to kind of understand. Like sometimes your advertisement, I don't know, like, because some people look at that and go, it doesn't make any sense. But like, what's clear to me, right, is, people would actually, because what they did quite cleverly actually is they actually also have like bumper stickers. So people would put the tiger on the back of their cars, their pickup trucks. So then there's free advertising there because it was something cool and awesome, right? So it's a classic example of like, how can you create virality loops in what you're building? And I think, as a campaign, I want to put a tiger on the back of my car. That's sick, So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Great find.
I thought you'd like that. So, I mean, look, I think to wrap up things, I mean, my big insight this week would be I've just been seeing a lot more kind of like across the accounts. I mean, the big thing again is actually like UGC. The glory of UGC is slowly starting to kind of fade. I think a lot of audiences are fatigued from like really obvious UGC. I think what brands are looking now to do is make the scripting make the scripts looser, not tighter. And kind of allow the audience to really just like deal with it organically. Of course, make sure that your creators have got the hooks nailed in, but allow them to actually tell a story, not pigeonhole them too much. That's kind of what I've been saying from a fatigue perspective. I think people are formatted fatigued. But yeah, I mean, look, I think what a great episode. Another banging episode, mate. I'm loving this as a format. It's incredible.
It's been great. Hopefully, we haven't gotten anybody tell us it's shit yet on YouTube. So hopefully everybody else who's watching likes it too.
We haven't been slandered yet. So we even we do get slandered, we continue. But yeah, look, thank you so much for watching. It's been Luke, it's been Carson, and we'll see you next week with some more sauce.
Peace.